The blue-white flash illuminated the night sky over Naval Station Norfolk's remote research outpost. Jack Morrison looked up from his workbench, coffee mug frozen halfway to his lips. Through the workshop window, he watched something impossibly bright streak across the horizon before disappearing into the Atlantic with a distant splash. "Did you see that?" he asked, turning to find himself alone in the engineering bay. At 2 a.m., most of the base was asleep. Jack set down his mug and reached for the phone. 20 minutes later, Captain Lisa Reeves stood beside him at the observation deck, binoculars trained on the disturbed water approximately 3 miles offshore. "Whatever it is, it's still emitting energy readings unlike anything we've ever recorded," she said, handing Jack a tablet displaying the sensor data. "That's why I called you. If anyone can make sense of these readings, it's you." Jack studied the fluctuating patterns. "This isn't any propulsion system I recognize. Definitely not one of ours. Russian, Chinese. Pentagon doesn't think so." Lisa's expression was grim. "We need to secure the site before anyone else gets there. I'm sending you with the recovery team." The small boat pitched in the choppy waters as Jack and 4 Navy SEALs approached the crash site. Dawn was breaking, casting a pale glow over the floating object. It was smaller than Jack had expected, perhaps 30 feet long, with a smooth, iridescent hull that seemed to shift colors as they approached. No visible propellers, jets, or exhaust ports. Jack muttered, running his hand along the seamless exterior. "How does this thing move?" "Morrison, you should see this," called one of the SEALs. He had found what appeared to be a hatch, though there were no visible handles or control panels. Jack examined the area and noticed subtle indentations in the hull. Acting on instinct, he placed his palm against the surface. To everyone's shock, the material warmed beneath his touch, and a section of the hull simply dissolved inward, creating an opening. "Stay back," ordered the team leader, raising his weapon. Jack peered inside. The interior was bathed in soft blue light. Control panels lined the walls, displaying symbols and diagrams unlike any human language. At the center lay a humanoid figure, slumped over what appeared to be a pilot's chair. "There's someone inside," Jack called out. "Appears injured." Against the SEAL's protests, Jack climbed through the opening. The air inside was breathable, but carried a sweet, unfamiliar scent. He approached the figure cautiously. "Hello, are you hurt?" he asked, knowing his words were likely useless. The figure stirred and turned toward him. Jack froze. The being before him had a generally human appearance. 2 arms, 2 legs, a torso and head, but the similarities ended there. Its skin was pale blue with a subtle luminescence. Large, almond-shaped eyes blinked at him, irises shifting color like the hull of the craft. The being spoke, the sounds musical but incomprehensible. Then it reached for a small device at its neck and tapped it. Translation matrix initializing. Came a mechanical voice, adapting to local language patterns. Complete. "You are human," the being said, its mouth movements not quite matching the English words. "This is unexpected." Jack swallowed hard. "Yes, I'm Jack Morrison, United States Navy." "Who? What are you?" The being attempted what looked like a smile. "I am Zeri, Exploration Officer of the Lumidian Concordance. My vessel has malfunctioned during observation of your world." She gestured toward the control panels, several of which were dark or displaying erratic patterns. "I require assistance to repair my ship and return home." Jack looked around at the advanced technology surrounding him. Technology that could revolutionize human understanding of physics, space travel, perhaps even reality itself. "I think," he said carefully, "that might be arranged." The morning sun glinted off the alien vessel as it was carefully transported to the naval base's high-security engineering bay. Jack walked alongside the convoy, unable to take his eyes off the shimmering hull that seemed to change color with every shift of light. "You realize this is completely above our security clearance," Alan Wright muttered as they entered the hangar. The burly engineer had been Jack's friend since boot camp, but his face showed nothing but concern now. Pentagon brass are flying in this afternoon, and by then, I want some answers to give them, Jack replied, watching as armed guards took positions around the perimeter. Zeri emerged from her ship, causing several technicians to step back involuntarily. In the daylight, her blue-tinted skin had a pearlescent quality, and she moved with a grace that seemed almost choreographed. "Your gravity is slightly stronger than I am accustomed to," she explained, noticing Jack's observation. "I will adapt quickly." Captain Reeves approached, maintaining remarkable composure for someone meeting an extraterrestrial. "We've cleared this facility for your work, Morrison. Whatever you need. First thing we need is to understand what's broken," Jack said, turning to Zeri. "Can you show us?" Inside the ship, Jack felt like a medieval blacksmith being asked to repair a smartphone. The technology gap was staggering. What appeared to be the engine room contained no moving parts, just crystalline structures arranged in complex patterns, connected by channels of flowing light. "The primary quantum resonance matrix suffered a cascade failure when we entered your atmosphere," Zeri explained, pointing to a damaged section where the light pulsed weakly and erratically. "Without it, I cannot generate sufficient energy for interstellar travel." Jack stared at the alien components, trying to connect them to any principles of physics he understood. "These crystals, they're some kind of energy amplifiers. Close. They are consciousness-responsive quantum field manipulators." Seeing Jack's confusion, Zeri added, "They shape space-time according to the pilot's navigation instructions." Ellen snorted. "Right, and I suppose they run on wishes and fairy dust." Zeri tilted her head, her color-shifting eyes focusing on Alan. "They function by harnessing zero-point energy from subspace fluctuations. Actually, zero-point energy is theoretical," Jack said. "For humans, perhaps." Zeri's mouth formed what might have been a smile. Over the next few days, Jack immersed himself in understanding Lumidian technology. Zeri was patient, explaining concepts that sometimes took hours for Jack to grasp even the basics of. The language barrier didn't help. Many Lumidian concepts had no English equivalent. "Your mathematics is limited," Zeri observed, watching Jack sketch equations, "but surprisingly adaptable." On the fourth day, as Pentagon officials hovered increasingly close, Jack had a realization. "We can't repair your crystals because we don't have the materials. But what if we created a hybrid system, something that interfaces your technology with ours?" Zeri looked skeptical. "Your power generation capabilities are primitive." "Primitive doesn't mean useless," Jack countered. "We can't match your output, but maybe we can provide enough to bootstrap your systems." They worked through the night, Jack modifying a nuclear battery while Zeri reconfigured her ship's intake systems. By dawn, they had created an ungainly but potentially functional hybrid. "This approach would never occur to my people," Zeri admitted, examining their creation. "We would consider it inelegant." "That's humanity for you," Jack said with a tired smile. "We specialize in inelegant solutions." The moment of truth came at noon. As base personnel watched from a safe distance, Jack connected the final coupling. For a tense moment, nothing happened. Then, slowly, the light in the crystal matrix brightened, patterns becoming more stable and coherent. Zeri's eyes widened, their color shifting rapidly through blues and violets. "It's working," she whispered. "You've created a functioning quantum electrical interface. This is unprecedented." Jack allowed himself a small smile of pride. "That's one problem down. Now about your navigation systems." He didn't notice Captain Reeves watching him intently from the observation window, a secure phone pressed to her ear as she reported the development to her superiors. Jack sat cross-legged on the floor of the engineering bay, sharing a late dinner with Zori. Their work sessions often stretched long into the night, and they had fallen into the habit of eating together. Tonight, Zeri cautiously tasted a French fry, her expression curious. "The salt content is very high," she observed, "but not unpleasant. Funny how some things translate across species." Jack replied, though I'm still trying to understand how you can eat our food at all. Our biology follows similar carbon-based patterns, Zuri explained. My digestive system is simply more adaptable than yours. The Lumidians evolved on a world with highly variable food sources. Jack leaned back against a storage crate. So tell me more about your home. What's it like? Zuri's eyes shifted to a deep blue. Jack had learned this indicated thoughtfulness or nostalgia. Our star is older than yours, with 7 planets. We inhabit the third and fourth, having terraformed the latter centuries ago. You've been watching Earth for how long exactly? We established observation posts in your solar system approximately 300 of your years ago, Zuri said casually. Your American Revolution coincided with our first detailed cultural study. Jack nearly choked on his soda. You've been spying on us since the 1700s. Observing, Zuri corrected. Non-interference is our primary directive with developing species. Yet here you are, sharing technology with me. Zuri's skin flushed slightly purple. Embarrassment, Jack had learned. My presence was accidental. But now that contact has occurred, certain exchanges are permitted. Their conversation was interrupted as Nicole Garcia, the base's communications specialist, entered carrying a tablet. Sorry to interrupt the alien slumber party, she said with a grin, but I've been working on that translation interface you asked for. Nicole had taken a particular interest in the linguistic aspects of their work. Initially wary of Zuri, she had gradually become fascinated by the mathematical structure of the Lumidian language. Look at this, she said, showing them her screen. I've mapped Lumidian phonemes to a visual interface. It should help with the technical terminology you've been struggling with. Jack examined the display, impressed. This is brilliant, Nicole. It's quite accurate, Zuri agreed, studying the screen. Your pattern recognition skills are exceptional. Nicole's face brightened at the compliment. Well, when you grow up speaking Spanish, English, and Tagalog, you develop an ear for language structure. As Nicole demonstrated the interface, Jack noticed how the base personnel had gradually changed around Zuri. The initial fear and suspicion had given way to curiosity and even camaraderie. Even Alan, who had been the most skeptical, now regularly joined their technical discussions. Later that night, after everyone else had left, Jack found himself alone with Zuri in the dimly lit bay. Your people adapt quickly, Zuri noted. When I was trained for possible first contact scenarios, we were warned to expect prolonged fear and hostility. Don't be too impressed, Jack replied. This is a controlled environment with carefully selected personnel. The wider world might not be so welcoming. Zuri's expression became somber. Yes, we have observed humanity's tendency toward conflict. It is one reason we maintained our distance. Yet you seem comfortable with us now. With you, yes. Zuri's eyes shifted to a warm amber color. You have shown surprising creativity in our work together. My people value knowledge above all else, but we sometimes lack your species' intuitive leaps. Jack smiled, feeling oddly touched. High praise from someone who crosses interstellar space as easily as I cross the street. That night, Jack dreamed of stars. Countless stars seen from perspectives impossible from Earth. He floated through nebulae and past planets with impossible colors. When he woke, the images lingered, feeling more like memories than dreams. He didn't mention the dreams to anyone, not even Zuri. But as they worked on the ship's systems the next day, he found himself understanding the alien technology with an unexpected ease, as though something had shifted in his mind, aligning his thoughts with the strange logic of Lumidian engineering. It's not working. Jack rubbed his tired eyes and pushed away from the workbench. For 3 weeks, they had made steady progress on the ship's systems, but the quantum power core remained stubbornly unstable. Every time they increased power beyond 60%, the crystalline matrix would begin to fracture. Zuri stood beside him, her skin pulsing with faint blue light, a sign of concentration Jack had come to recognize. The interface is sound, but something is causing harmonic distortion in the quantum field. Jack paced the workshop, mind racing. Scattered across tables were components from Earth's most advanced technology, alongside Lumidian parts that seemed to defy physical laws. The contrast struck him suddenly. "We're thinking about this wrong," he said, stopping abruptly. "We've been trying to make our technology compatible with yours. What if we do the opposite?" Zeri tilted her head. "Explain." "Your quantum core was designed to operate in deep space, drawing energy from what you call subspace fluctuations. But Earth's gravitational field and magnetic properties are different from your home system." Jack grabbed a sketch pad, drawing rapidly. "What if we use Earth's magnetic field as a stabilizing influence rather than trying to shield against it?" For the first time, Zeri looked genuinely surprised. "That would require reconfiguring the entire resonance pattern." "Exactly. But it might work." They worked through the night, Jack dismantling and reconstructing the power transfer system, while Zari recoded the core's operating parameters. By morning, they had created something neither human nor Lumidian, a hybrid system that used Earth's natural electromagnetic field as a stabilizing element for the alien quantum technology. Captain Reeves arrived to find them both exhausted but excited. "We're ready for a full power test," Jack announced, not bothering with formalities. "Are you sure it's safe?" she asked, eyeing the modified components with concern. "Relatively," Zari answered with what had become her version of humor. The test area was cleared, with only essential personnel remaining behind shielded observation windows. Jack connected the final circuit and stepped back. "Power flow initiating," he called out. 10%, 20, 30. The core began to glow, light flowing through channels across the matrix. Unlike previous attempts, the pattern remained stable, the light pure and unwavering. 40%, 50, 60. Jack held his breath as they passed the previous failure point. 70, 80. At 90%, a harmonic tone filled the air, resonating at a frequency just at the edge of human hearing. The light from the core intensified, bathing the room in a brilliant blue-white glow. 100%, Jack announced, his voice barely containing his excitement. "Core stability at 98%. Applause broke out among the watching technicians. Even Alan whistled in appreciation. Zeri's skin glowed with intensity Jack had never seen before, pulsing with what he now recognized as joy. "You did it," she said softly. "A solution that would never have occurred to my people." "We did it," Jack corrected her. "Your knowledge, my crazy ideas." Captain Reeves approached them after the system had run stable for an hour. "Congratulations, Morrison. The Pentagon is impressed." She lowered her voice. "Though some parties are suggesting we study this technology further before completing repairs." Jack felt a surge of protectiveness. That wasn't the deal. "We help Zeri. She shares what knowledge she can." "Relax, Morrison," Reeves said with a slight smile. "I reminded them that good faith matters, especially in first contact situations." Later, as they made final adjustments to the core, Zeri turned to Jack with an unusually serious expression. "Your solution today was remarkable. It represents something my people have rarely encountered. True innovation born from limitation." She paused. With the power core restored, only the navigation systems remained to be calibrated. Jack felt an unexpected pang at the reminder that their work was nearly complete, that Zeri would soon leave. "The navigation matrix requires alignment with your local stellar coordinates," she continued. "Once complete, I can return home." "Right," Jack said, trying to sound professional. "We should begin that tomorrow." That night, his dreams of stars were more vivid than ever. But this time, he wasn't merely observing the cosmos. He was moving through it with purpose, understanding it in ways his waking mind couldn't comprehend. When he woke, a strange certainty had formed in his mind. There was more to Zeri's mission than she had revealed. The navigation lab hummed with activity as Jack and Zeri worked to align the ship's stellar positioning system. Holographic star maps hovered in the air between them, their light casting strange shadows across the walls. Your astronomers have mapped only a tiny fraction of the stars my ship needs for navigation, Zuri explained, manipulating the three-dimensional display with graceful gestures. But we can extrapolate from what you know. Jack watched her movements, still fascinated by the fluid way she interacted with the technology. After weeks of working together, he had grown accustomed to her alien appearance, but moments like this reminded him of the vast difference between their species. "You know," he said casually, "you've never actually told me why you were near Earth in the first place. Routine observation doesn't usually require getting this close, does it?" Zeri's hands paused over the star map, her skin briefly flickering to a deeper blue. Hesitation. Jack had learned. "No," she admitted finally. "It doesn't." She turned to face him fully, her eyes shifting through colors before settling on a clear violet. "Jack, there is something I haven't told you. Something I was authorized to reveal only if circumstances warranted it." Jack set down his tools, suddenly alert. "I'm listening." "My mission wasn't just observation." Zeri's voice was solemn. "I was sent to evaluate Earth for potential first contact status." The weight of her words hung in the air between them. "The Lumidian Concordance consists of 23 spacefaring species across this arm of the galaxy," she continued. "We form alliances only with species that demonstrate certain qualities, not just technological advancement, but adaptability, creativity, and ethical capacity." "And humanity qualifies?" Jack asked, skeptical. "Your species is controversial among our council. Your technological progress is impressive, but your tendency toward conflict is concerning." Her expression softened. "But there are those of us who see great potential in humans. Your solution for my ship's power core proved something important." "What's that?" "That humans think differently than we do. Where Lumidians see patterns and follow established principles, you see possibilities and make intuitive leaps. This complementary thinking could benefit both our peoples." Jack leaned against the console, processing this revelation. "So what happens now?" "You go back and report that some humans are clever with machines." "Not exactly." Zeri approached him, stopping unusually close. "Jack, my people believe in exchange. You have helped me, at considerable risk to yourself. I am authorized to offer you something in return, something personal." From a compartment in her suit, she removed what looked like a small crystal, similar to the ones in the ship's power core, but smaller, more refined. "This is a neural interface," she explained, "a technology we share only with trusted allies. It would allow you to access Lumidian knowledge directly, to understand concepts your science hasn't yet discovered." Jack stared at the crystal. "You want to put alien technology in my brain?" "It's completely safe," Zuri assured him, "and temporary if you wish it to be. But it would allow you to comprehend the universe as we do, to see beyond human limitations." "Why me specifically?" Jack asked, though part of him already knew the answer. "Because you demonstrated the very qualities we seek: adaptability, creativity, and a mind open to new possibilities." Her eyes met his. "And because I have come to trust you, Jack Morrison." Captain Reeves chose that moment to enter the lab, stopping short when she sensed the tension in the air. "Is everything all right?" she asked, looking between them. Jack pocketed the crystal before she could see it. "Fine, Captain. Just discussing the navigation calibration." After Reeves left, satisfied with their progress report, Jack turned back to Zari. "I need to think about this," he said quietly. "Of course." Zari's skin pulsed gently. "But know that this offer is rare, Jack. It represents my people's highest form of respect." That night, Jack lay awake in his quarters, the crystal on his nightstand glowing faintly in the darkness. The dreams of stars called to him, as did the mystery of what knowledge the Lumidians might share. By dawn, his decision was made. The morning light filtered through the blinds as Jack stared at the crystal in his palm. Its surface caught the sunbeams, breaking them into prismatic patterns across his skin. His decision had been made during the long, sleepless night. "I accept your offer," he told Zari when they met in the quiet of the engineering bay before others arrived. Zari's skin brightened with what Jack now recognized as pleasure. You will not regret this choice. The knowledge of the Lumidian concordance will expand your understanding in ways you cannot yet imagine. How does it work? Jack asked, turning the crystal over in his hand. The interface creates a quantum connection between your neural pathways and the collective knowledge database of my people. Zari took the crystal from him. The process is painless, but intense. Jack swallowed hard. Let's do it before I change my mind. Zari placed the crystal against his temple. It felt cool at first, then warm. Focus on the crystal, she instructed. Allow your thoughts to align with its resonance. Jack concentrated on the small object. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the crystal began to pulse in rhythm with his heartbeat. A tingling sensation spread from his temple down his spine, followed by a strange pressure behind his eyes. That's normal, Zari assured him, seeing his expression change. The interface is mapping your neural architecture. The pressure built until Jack thought his head might burst. Just when it became almost unbearable, it suddenly released. The workshop around him seemed to dissolve, replaced by a vast field of stars. Not like his dreams, but more real, more immediate. Information began to flow into his consciousness, not as words or images, but as pure understanding. Physics concepts beyond Earth's science unfurled in his mind. The true nature of dark energy, the principles of quantum gravity, the mechanics of faster-than-light travel, knowledge that would have taken lifetimes to acquire flooded into him in seconds. He gasped, overwhelmed by the sheer volume of information. Through it all, he felt Zari's presence like an anchor, guiding the flow, preventing him from becoming lost in the vastness. How long the process lasted, Jack couldn't say. When awareness of his surroundings returned, he found himself sitting on the floor, Zari kneeling beside him. The crystal had disappeared, apparently absorbed into his skin, leaving only a faint iridescent mark. "Are you all right?" Zari asked, her voice sounding strangely different to his ears, richer, carrying subtle harmonics he'd never noticed before. "I think so." Jack's own voice seemed foreign. Everything looks different. The world around him had changed. He could see electromagnetic fields flowing through the equipment, the subtle quantum fluctuations in the air itself. When he looked at Zari, he saw not just her physical form, but layers of energy and information that comprised her true self. "Your perceptions are expanding," she explained. "It will take time to adjust." Over the next 3 days, Jack's colleagues noticed dramatic changes in his behavior. He solved complex engineering problems in seconds that should have taken weeks. He spoke in technical terms even the senior scientists couldn't follow. His handwriting filled notebooks with equations that looked nothing like conventional mathematics. "Morrison, are you sure you're okay?" Captain Reeves asked after finding him precisely calibrating equipment with his eyes closed, working purely by sensing the electromagnetic fields. "Better than okay," Jack replied, not looking up. "I understand now." Concerned reports made their way up the chain of command. Medical staff requested examinations that Jack politely but firmly refused. Only Nichols seemed untroubled by the changes, watching him with fascination rather than fear. "You've been given something incredible, haven't you?" she asked him privately. Jack smiled. "More than I can explain." By the 7th day, the initial overwhelming flood of information had settled into something manageable. Jack could now control which aspects of his enhanced perception to focus on. The feverish energy that had alarmed his colleagues gave way to a calm certainty. "The transformation is stabilizing," Zari observed as they finalized the navigation calibrations. "Your mind has adapted remarkably quickly. Most species require weeks to integrate this level of knowledge." Jack nodded, understanding the implications. "Humans are particularly suited for this interface, aren't we? That's part of what makes us valuable to your people." "Yes," Zari admitted. "Your neural plasticity is exceptional. It's one reason I was authorized to offer you the interface." As the ship's systems came fully online, pulsing with restored energy, Jack felt a strange mixture of triumph and sadness. The project was complete. Zari would soon leave Earth, and he would have to decide what to do with the cosmic knowledge now residing in his. The alien vessel hummed with restored power, its systems fully operational for the first time since crashing into Earth's ocean. Jack stood beside it in the hangar, watching the hull shift through colors as it prepared for departure. The past week had transformed him in ways he was still discovering. His mind now contained knowledge that would revolutionize human science if shared. All systems check complete, Zuri announced, emerging from the ship. Her skin glowed with a vibrant blue that Jack now understood represented anticipation and relief. The navigation matrix has accepted Earth's stellar coordinates. I can return to the Concordance. Captain Reeves approached with a group of military officials and scientists who had been monitoring the project. So this is goodbye, then, she said, extending her hand to Zuri in the human gesture the alien had learned to mimic. Not necessarily, Zuri replied, her eyes shifting to Jack. That depends on decisions yet to be made. The hangar fell silent as all eyes turned to Jack. He had known this moment was coming since the neural interface had been activated. The knowledge within him had revealed Zuri's true purpose, and the choice he now faced. You want me to go with you, Jack stated simply. Gasps and murmurs spread through the assembled humans. The Lumidian Concordance extends an invitation, Zuri confirmed. You would be Earth's first ambassador to our alliance of worlds. Your unique perspective, human intuition combined with Lumidian knowledge, would be invaluable. Morrison is a Navy engineer, not a diplomat, Captain Reeves objected, stepping forward. He is more than that now, Zuri replied. The neural interface has given him understanding no other human possesses. He could serve as a bridge between our civilizations. Jack felt the weight of possibility pressing on him. Through the enhanced awareness the interface provided, he could sense the tension in the room, the mixture of fear and wonder emanating from his colleagues. There is another option, Zuri continued. Jack could remain on Earth, using his new knowledge to guide human development. The interface would continue to function, though without updates from our central database. Alan pushed through the crowd. Jack, think about what you could do here. Clean energy, advanced medicine, space travel. You could advance human technology by centuries. Assuming they let me, Jack replied quietly, glancing at the military officials whose thoughts he could practically sense. Thoughts of weapons, strategic advantages, power. Nicole stepped forward, her expression somber. They're afraid of what you've become, Jack. I've heard them talking. If you stay, they'll study you, control you. Captain Reeves shook her head. That's not true. Morrison would be treated with the respect he deserves. Jack smiled sadly, knowing better. The neural interface let him perceive intentions beyond words. Some would protect him, yes, but others would exploit his knowledge, limiting what he could share based on political and military interests. I need to speak with Captain Reeves alone, he announced. In the privacy of a small office, Jack faced his commanding officer. Lisa, you've been fair throughout this entire situation, he began. So I'll be honest with you. If I stay, my knowledge will be controlled, compartmentalized. Some of it would help humanity, but much would be weaponized. You don't know that, she argued, but weakly. I do. He tapped his temple where the iridescent mark of the interface glimmered. I can see possibilities now, probability paths. If I go with Zari, I can negotiate a proper first contact on equal terms. I can ensure Earth enters the galactic community as a respected partner, not as a primitive curiosity. Captain Reeves studied him for a long moment. You're not just Jack Morrison anymore, are you? I am, he insisted. Just more. When they returned to the hangar, Jack walked directly to Zuri's side. The decision showed clearly on his face. I accept the position as Earth's first ambassador to the Lumidian Concordance, he announced. Protests erupted, but Captain Reeves raised her hand for silence. This is Morrison's choice, and perhaps, her voice strengthened, perhaps it's humanity's best chance for a peaceful introduction to the wider universe. Jack embraced his friends one by one. Nichols' tears, Alan's reluctant handshake, the captain's formal salute. Then he turned toward the ship that would carry him to the stars he had dreamed of. "I'll be back," he promised. "And I won't come alone. This isn't an ending for humanity. It's a beginning." As the ship's entrance sealed behind Jack and Zari, those watching saw its hull brighten to a brilliant blue-white glow. The vessel rose silently, hovering briefly before accelerating upward with impossible speed, leaving behind only a fading trail of light and the promise of a wider universe waiting to be explored.